I walked into the room and found my cheating wife with her affair partner, and they didn't see me. Could I have picked a worse time? Great job. What a performance. I clapped and said it loudly. A bomb seemed to have gone off in the room. He leaped back, wrapping himself in a sheet. She looked scared. I sat down in a chair, and here's what happened next. I felt something was wrong. It began as a whisper in my mind weeks ago, but tonight, it screamed. I was meant to be away, but a canceled meeting brought me back early. I parked on the street and got out of my car quietly. My house was dark, except for the faint light from our bedroom window. I opened the front door and heard it. Gentle sounds. Breathing heavily. The clear sound of betrayal. I moved quietly, my steps soft on the wooden floor. My heart raced, but my mind was clear. I imagined this moment and dreaded it. Now that it was real, there was no pain, only clarity. I arrived at the bedroom door. It was slightly open. I opened it wider, and there she was. My spouse. The woman I built my life around. Struggling under a weak man. They were so caught up in their mess that they didn't even notice me. Wow. Was this the right time to choose? I stepped inside, one foot after the other. I clapped with a smirk. 1 time. 2 times. Thrice. Well done. Well done. Great show. The reaction was instant, like an explosion. He leaped back from her, grabbing for the sheets in fear. She froze, her face pale, lips parted in shock. I didn't shout. I stayed calm. I walked to the chair by the window, sat down, crossed my legs, and smiled. Keep going, don't worry about me. Quiet. Heavy and stifling. All that could be heard was their heavy breathing. His was shaky and panicked, hers hitched with fear. He covered himself with the sheets, his face showing disbelief. I relaxed in the chair, calm and collected. Stay calm, no yelling. Only icy control. Keep going, don't hold back because of me, I said, observing their discomfort. She held the blanket tightly, her hands shaking. This isn't what it seems, she stammered. I chuckled, an amused laugh that made her flinch. Oh, is that so? What am I seeing? Audition for a low-budget adult film? His performance is lacking. The affair partner, whom I'll refer to as the worm for his cowardice, tried to speak, but I silenced him with a glare. Be quiet. You shouldn't speak right now. He closed his mouth. Okay. I looked back at my wife, the woman I had shared my life with, the woman I had trusted, and now, she felt like a stranger. You look. I felt nervous and tilted my head. Why is that? Feeling bad? Or just afraid of what comes next? She swallowed. Can we just talk about this? Chat. Oh, now you want to talk? I scoffed. It's funny how you weren't interested in talking while you were with him in my bed. She tried to speak, but nothing came out. She had 0. I got up and adjusted my watch. I had 2 choices when I came in. I could lose my temper and yell, maybe even throw punches, but that would be too easy for you. I stepped forward, and she pulled back. Alternatively, I could take my time and make you regret this in ways you never expected. Her breath caught. She was really scared now. I smiled. Okay. I took out my phone. She gasped. What are you up to? I tapped the screen and hit play. The room echoed with the sound of their betrayal. Moans, whispers, laughter, all recorded clearly. My wife's face went pale. What about the worm? He looked ready to vomit. I watched them as the video played. Their sins are clear. My favorite part is when you tell him he's better than me, I said, my voice calm and casual. It truly makes a man feel special, right? She lunged for the phone, but I was quicker. I stepped back, keeping it out of reach. Hold on a moment. She froze, breathing hard, eyes wide with fear. Where did you find that? She hesitated. I smiled. She had no clue. I'm observant, I said, shrugging. Did you think I didn't see how you've been acting? Those late nights? Unexpected gym sessions? You held your phone like it was your lifeline. She tried to speak, but no words came out. I got curious, installed some cameras, and set up a few recorders. Guess what? You provided exactly what I needed. The worm shot up, holding the sheet around his waist. Hey, we don't need to go through this. I smirked at him. Do you really think I'm doing this for fun? No, I'm doing this to make you both suffer. I've just begun. His Adam's apple moved as he swallowed. I looked at my wife, who was shaking. Share something with me, love. My voice was calm and soothing. Have you thought about what would happen if you got caught? She didn't respond. Did you think about how I would feel? I kept going. Was I just some? What? Is that a paycheck? Is this a placeholder? Are you serious? She cried, but I felt nothing. I put away my phone and took out another device. A USB drive. What is this? I asked, spinning it in my fingers. She looked at it, then at me. Thanks. I laughed. Can you help? Are you begging now? That opportunity passed when you chose to be with him. I went to the bedroom TV, plugged in the drive, and hit play. The video started playing on the big screen. The room was silent except for the video playing on the large screen. Moans, whispers, betrayal, all in HD. My wife sobbed. What about the worm? He seemed to wish the earth would just swallow him up. Turn it off, she said softly. Kindly. I sat back in my chair, arms crossed. Why? Embarrassed? You weren't shy when you did it. She gasped. The worm held the sheet tighter, his face turning red. I wasn't finished. Far from it. I took out my phone and sent the video to a chosen list of recipients with a few taps. Done. It's out of my hands now. I smirked as my wife's face turned from pale to ashen. Her phone vibrated. On the other hand, once more? Once more? Next, she yelled. Her hands trembled while unlocking her phone. It hit me right away. You sent it to? Everyone. Sure. I agreed. Your family, friends, boss, and gym trainer, since you were always eager to work out with him. She cried. Her world was falling apart. The worm lunged at me, anger and urgency taking over its shame. You destroyed her life. He shouted, fists tight. I stood up, looking down at him. So, you believe I messed up her life? She messed up mine first. I'm ensuring she gets what she deserves. The worm fell back. He realized he had no chance. My wife fell onto the bed, crying hard. You can't do this, she said, stammering. I'll say you abused me. I will. I chuckled, laughed. Oh dear. Don't forget who you're up against. I took a thick folder from my bag and threw it onto the bed beside her. Open. She hesitated, but her trembling hands finally opened it. Bank statements show her draining our joint account. Her affair expenses, hotel bills, and lavish gifts all tied to her credit card. And the best part, legal documents. A divorce settlement that gave her nothing. I said, watching the horror unfold. I prepared for everything. Cheating on someone has consequences you can't avoid. She flipped through the papers, breathing rapidly. You can't do this, she yelled. I already did. I took my jacket and headed for the door. I added, looking back. What about your parents? They saw the video as well. Good luck with that. I walked out. I left that room feeling lighter than I had in months. Betrayal still weighed on me, but now, I was in control. I knew my unfaithful wife had more to do. I just got to my car when I heard her hurried footsteps behind me. Wait, she shouted, barefoot and messy. Let's discuss this. I leaned against my car. Chat. So you want to talk now? I chuckled softly. Where was this energy when you were out partying? She clasped her hands, her mascara-streaked face showing desperation. That's not how it was. I really just. Be quiet. My voice was calm and cold. She recoiled. Stop lying. Stop making excuses. I took out my phone and opened the bank app. Do you see this? I showed her the balance in our joint account. Her eyes grew wide with fear. It's gone. Every cent. Did you take all the money? She inhaled sharply. I smiled. No, dear. I reclaimed what was mine. What about you? You have no money. She shook her head and stepped closer. Hey, listen. I made a mistake. We can fix this. I love you still. I moved closer and spoke softly. What is love? I turned my head. Are you talking about the love where you sleep with two of my friends in my house? Or the type where you take my money while betraying me? That love. She cried. I made a mistake. I was self-centered. I wasn't clear-headed. And you? You're my partner. I chuckled. Really laughed. You chose, dear. What now? You'll have to deal with it. I opened my car door, and she grabbed my arm. Please, she cried. Stop this. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this. I glanced at her. The woman who betrayed me also lied to me. The same woman who humiliated me without hesitation. I pulled my arm back. This isn't yours to fix. No second chances. You made your choice. Now deal with it. By myself. I got in my car and slammed the door. I drove away and saw her fall to the pavement, crying. I didn't care. I felt free for the first time in a while. I sat back in my chair, watching my wife and her lover hurriedly cover up. The tension in the room was heavy, their shame looming like a storm cloud. Please, she whispered, her voice trembling. Let's talk. I laughed, a cold laugh that chilled them both. Chat. Now you want to talk? I leaned in. It's funny how you weren't interested in talking while you were busy with this loser in my bed. Her partner, clutching the sheet tightly, finally spoke. We don't need to overcomplicate this. Events occur. Bad choice. I grabbed him by the throat and slammed him against the wall in seconds. I growled, gripping tighter. Do you really believe that sleeping with another man's wife is just an accident? His face flushed, eyes wide. He was weak and pathetic. The man who had just been confidently in my bed was now shaking like a child. Please, he gasped. I released him, watching him fall to the floor like the worm he was. I still had more to say to him. I looked back at my wife. She was shaking. You thought I would just ignore this? Do you really think you can act like the perfect wife while hiding things from me? She cried, but I felt nothing for her now. She meant nothing to me now. You don't get it, she said, struggling to speak. It was meaningless. I ended it with her. I'll ensure you know what happens next. I took out my phone and pressed send. Moments later, her phone buzzed. She took it, her eyes on the screen. She froze. Her face went pale. She looked at me, fear in her eyes. What did you do? She whispered. I smiled. I sent a small gift to your parents, friends, and boss. Even to our neighbors. The clip. Clear footage of her betrayal. She dropped the phone, sobbing softly. Her lover quickly got up, snatching his pants. You sick bastard, he hissed. You destroyed her life. I raised my eyebrow. No, she messed up her own life. I ensured everyone saw the truth. I turned and walked out, leaving them in their misery. The revenge wasn't finished yet. I left the house, leaving my wife's choices behind. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. 12 messages, missed calls, and voicemails from her. I smiled and let her worry. I drove to a quiet bar where no one knew me, to watch the disaster unfold from afar. Less than an hour later, her family's reaction began. Her parents called first. I didn't respond, but they left a message. Her mother cried. Why did she do this? We raised her well. Call us back. Please say this is a mistake. No, it wasn't. They'll see it for themselves soon. Is it her father? He was unique. His voice was icy. She's no longer welcome here. I can only imagine her meltdown when her father disowned her. Okay, professional failure. Next was her job. She held a prominent position, and her image mattered greatly. Some targeted messages to her colleagues, boss, and industry contacts. Then, her good reputation was ruined. A mutual friend texted me. I'm not sure what's happening. HR just called her in. It's the talk of the town. She was out by the end of the day. Let go. Reputation gone. She called me. Maybe pleading, crying, or yelling for me to stop. I overlooked her. She wasn't worth it. Her final efforts. She arrived at my apartment in the evening, knocking on the door, screaming, just talk to me. I messed up. I made her wait outside for 10 minutes before I opened the door. She looked terrible. Red eyes from crying. Messy hair. Shaking uncontrollably. Why? She cried. Why did you ruin my life? I tilted my head. Do you think I did this? I laughed icily. You destroyed yourself the moment you chose to cheat. I ensured everyone knew the truth. She fell to her knees. I have nowhere to go, she said softly. Not my issue, I said, stepping back. Ask your bad boy for help. She shook her head. He's left. He left after seeing the video. I laughed. Impressive. Faithful man. You two seemed great together. She clutched my leg, crying. I'll do anything. I'll fix this. I pulled my leg back. This can't be fixed. You created your situation. Now deal with it. I slammed the door in her face. I walked away, her cries echoing in the hallway. Moving forward. In the end, she had lost her job, friends, family support, and her husband. I was free. Revenge was not only sweet, it was total. Was this revenge fair or excessive? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd like your opinion. If you enjoy pro-revenge stories, subscribe and like for more exciting tales you won't want to miss. Your likes, shares, and subscriptions matter greatly to us. It helps us deliver the stories you want. Your support matters. Thanks for being part of our community.